What's up, everybody? PSA here from your friends at Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. We are doing a redraft league. We're kicking the best ball out the door. It's going to be a 12-team, half point per reception, 6 point per passing touchdown. So get your quarterbacks ready. We're putting 2 flexes in and getting rid of the kicker because we don't like kickers, so we're giving an extra flex spot. And better yet, the first place winner gets a $50 Visa gift card. Ray, tell them how to enter.
All right, so first things first, guys. You're going to have to hit that subscribe button. We're going to need to see those subscriptions go up. Secondly, if you want to get in this league, you have to comment on each one of these PSAs that you're going to see on each one of the episodes that comes out. The closing date on that is going to be August 10th, and we're going to decide off of a raffle out of those comments who's going to be in the league. So make sure that you hit that comment because that's how we're going to know you guys want to be in the league. And like Aaron said, a $50 gift card to the winner. Free for you guys.
For sure. For sure, guys. Free to enter. All you got to do is literally leave a comment on the YouTube video for your chance to win $50. And you might meet some really cool people with the redraft league and be able to start your own leagues next year. All right, guys. So enjoy the episode. What's up, everybody? It's Aaron and Ray again with Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. This week we have a guest joining us again for head-to-head mock draft number 2, and it is our good friend John. This week, as I said, we're going to switch it up. We're going to do the 10-team half point PPR. We're going to go 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, and a defense, no kicker, rotating that kicker spot into an extra flex spot. How does that make you feel, Ray?
You know, anytime that you're going to go ahead and take off the kicker, I'm all about it. I'm all in. Take out kickers for the rest of time that I have on Earth. Let's do that.
Forever?
Forever. My perceived forever.
I am with it. So if you guys have been paying attention to fantasy football, over the off season, everyone knows that the Scotty Fish Bowl, the 11th year, started this year. Ray and I put our ticket in for next year. Don't know if we'll get selected, but just to give everyone a heads up on that, it's pretty cool. It's for charity. All the money that they raise for that all goes to charity. I don't know if you knew that, Ray, but that's what it does.
Well, that kind of makes me feel a little bit better about it. Really, I would like to get a chance to get in there, show our stuff, show that we know what we're talking about, as opposed to what the internet might think, you know?
Yeah. So before we actually jump into this mock draft, everyone's tracking Hard Knocks this year, right? John, you tracking? I want you to answer this one. I know you said you didn't want to talk, but I'm going to make you talk.
Yeah, of course I'm going to watch that one. Come on.
All right. So
Third time they're going to be on, though.
John's favorite team, NFL team, is the Cowboys. Cowboys are going to be featured this year in Hard Knocks. It starts August the 10th, and it'll be a 5-episode series leading right up to the last week of preseason, right before football kicks off on that first Thursday of September. So, with that being said, you guys ready to draft?
Aaron, hold on just a second.
What's
I got one quick question to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to break these out just to really get to know you, because I feel like sometimes I don't even know you. You've said some things that make me concerned.
That's a lie.
How do you eat your hot dog? Do you eat it real crispy, or is it like, you know, just got the lines on there and you're good to go? How do you like your hot dog?
I'm not going to be picky when it comes to my hot dog, but I prefer a little more burnt than just lines.
Okay. What kind of toppings you going to put on that bad boy?
Yo, you got to go with mustard. And then occasionally a relish.
That's wild to me.
Why?
That's wild. Leandra put relish on her hot dog this weekend. We had our baby shower for Miles, and she put relish on there. I was like, "Who are you? Who did I marry?"
So I'll put relish every once in a while, but I mainly put relish. The only time you'll really see me put relish is when I've got chili and cheese on my hot dog and turn it into a chili cheese coney.
I mean, that does kind of make sense. I've never had it that way.
It's pretty good.
I'm a more standard mustard kind of guy, but I saw somebody else put some mayonnaise on there. I'm like,
you probably also drink the water of hot dogs, so
literal hot dog water. All right, I'm ready to roll, Aaron. Let's do this.
So John is going to be drafting from the 3 spot, Ray's from the 8 spot, I'm from the 9 spot. They're randomized. I'm guaranteeing Ray and myself are going to snipe each other in this draft quite a bit, so be ready and listen for that. All right, guys, best of luck. There's an hour pick. Hold on. I don't think the CP or the computer is going to actually pick. So let me pause the draft. Let me draft settings. It should be. I don't know why they just didn't immediately pick Christian McCaffrey like they're supposed to.
Even without the computer picking, you know who's going.
Yeah. So there we go. Oh, Dalvin Cook went first, then Christian McCaffrey.
Whoa.
Now it's on John.
Oh.
Derrick Henry. All right.
After John took Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley went, Jonathan Taylor, Nicholas Chubb, Alvin Kamara, and I am on the clock. And this is where getting the 8th pick, I was like, man, that's like where I really don't want to be. Because I truly feel like there's just going to be a way to mess this up, and I'm going to figure it out. But let me go ahead. I'm going to assume that Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. I'm going to take the first receiver off the board.
I'm mad at you
Adams.
for doing that because I was going to do that exact same thing.
Hold on a second. There you go.
All right, you got it? You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All
I
right,
figured it
so
out, man.
you took kind of who I was looking at because I honestly thought you were going to take Zeke here. So I am going to take Zeke. I do think that his floor will be okay. Everyone's kind of worried about Tony Pollard, thinking that he's going to get more work. But they're going to use Zeke while they got him. They still paid him. So I'm going to take Zeke to get a for sure low-end running back 1 here. Then Aaron Jones, then Tyreek Hill, then it's back to me. So I have the option to go running back, right, Ray? Or I have the option to go running back, wide receiver. Sky's the limit here. I am going to go running back. Do you know who I'm going to take right here?
You take Cam Akers, I swear to God.
That's exactly who I was going to take. So it only took 2 rounds to get into the sniping. So here we go.
I swear to God. You're the worst.
Sorry, man.
Let me go ahead and take a look who's still here. Austin Eckler's still here. Joe Mixon, Antonio Gibson, and Najee Harris. Najee Harris is a little too high for me in this pick. Let me take a look at who the receivers left there. DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, and A.J. Brown. Now, everybody knows my true love and affinity for A.J. Brown, but I feel like
It's a little too high for him right there.
if I don't take a running back right now, I'm really going to dislike how my draft looks. So I'm going to go ahead and take Antonio Gibson.
Okay. So we basically flip-flopped because I normally take Gibson
Yeah.
in that spot. Now, John's back on the clock. John, don't feel rushed. I put it to an hour per pick. So it gives you a little bit of time to decide who you want to take here. But anyways,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce went 204. Austin Eckler 2.6. Calvin Ridley 2.7.
And now John is on the clock. John
And he takes
went ahead and
D-Hop.
I would have taken AJ Brown instead of D-Hop. That's my own personal opinion, but again, who's listening to me
I think you're the highest probably on AJ Brown out of anybody
in the world?
that
I think
we-
AJ Brown and I are equally as high on AJ Brown. After DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Brown went DK Metcalf, Joe Mixon rounding out the front part of the third, Najee Harris, and John is back on the clock.
That he is. But yeah, I think that you're probably the highest on AJ Brown out of like our whole entire group league. There might be maybe one person who's higher than you are on him, but I think you've got the crown on that one, Ray.
Probably.
Okay, that's not a bad pick in the 3rd round there, John. Michael Thomas. I do think he will be okay. Then Patrick Mahomes goes in in 304. Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Swift, excuse me. Ray, how do you feel about DeAndre Swift in the 3rd round?
I was just about to ask you that. It's crazy. Get out of my head. I heard about. I was listening to something about DeAndre Swift today, and my main concern about taking Najee Harris in the 3rd. I'm sorry. DeAndre Swift in the 3rd is I don't believe that he's going to be a 3-down back. Truly don't. And if you're going to take somebody in the 3rd, you're going to really hope that he's going to have that level of workload. Because if you're not going to get that, you're going to have to be insanely efficient.
Mhm.
And something that I don't think is going to be insanely efficient is the Detroit Lions offense. So for me, Swift would have to fall somewhere in the 5th for me
Okay.
to consider it. And I think
Okay.
that's way too low. He's going to go way before that.
Yeah. All right. So before you make this pick, I have a question for you, John. Over or under DeAndre Swift finishing as running back 21 this year in half-point PPR?
He'll be under for sure.
So he'll under 22 or lower.
I think he'll be like at least a top 20. He'll be around that area.
Okay, so you're taking the over 21 finish.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I just wanted to get your take on it because we haven't really, besides Ray, I've never really heard anybody else that I personally know talk about DeAndre Swift. So, just wanted to know.
Because there's not a lot to talk about, let me tell you.
Stop it.
So still on the board right now, we have J.K. Dobbins, Chris Carson, and David Montgomery to round out anybody that I'm truly interested in at running back. Take a look at the receivers here right now. Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, and Allen Robinson still on the board as well. Mike Evans also available. I kind of like that right now too. Julio Jones and Chris Godwin. Do you remember me saying that if you wanted to get Chris Godwin, you're going to have to stamp your flag on him? This is probably in that time frame. If you're in a 12-man, for sure, this is when you needed to do it.
Well, 12-man third round, yeah, but 10-man, they'll bump everybody down a little bit.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the safety net and hope something falls back to me with Keenan Allen here in the third.
Okay. So I'm in a good spot here on the turn. I have 2 picks before I get to pick again. There are a lot more receivers that I'm comfortable with being my receiver 1 on my team than I am trying to find another running back coming back. I do believe the 2 running backs that I'm potentially looking at could be gone within the next 2 picks from this other team. So I'm going to for sure go ahead and take one of them now. And I have Cam Akers, and we still don't really know, everyone's projecting him to be the starter, this, that, and the other. We don't really know if he's going to take that step forward. If he does, great. I'm taking a risk there, but I'm going to get a for sure at least, I would say 10 to 14 points per week with Chris Carson.
Kind of who I was hoping to fall back to me.
Darren Waller goes next, along with Josh Jacobs, 2 Raiders on the turn there. So right now, I'm pretty much good at running back. I can take shots later in the draft now. So I'm kind of looking here at wide receiver. So I've got Terry McLaurin, I've got Allen Robinson, I've got Mike Evans, I got Julio Jones, Amari Cooper. These are just people that I can kind of look for and target right now. I could take George Kittle here if I wanted to. He is available. That's kind of a risky gamble, waiting a whole nother, 9 picks to get back to me? No, 17 picks to get back to me? 2, 4, whatever. My math's not good. Anyways, I'm taking the for sure guaranteed target machine that always finishes as a top 12 wide receiver with bad quarterback play, Allen Robinson.
Well, I don't particularly think that I can draft. I want to take Kittle so bad, but you know what?
Do it.
What are mock drafts for?
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and take George Kittle, but in this situation, if you find yourself with 2 receivers and a running back in the 3rd round coming into the 4th, and you're the back end of your 1st round picks, going to go ahead and say that this is probably not wise, but I'm going to take George Kittle anyway to see how my roster looks if I were to get George Kittle to fall in the 4th, which is insane value, I think. So after George Kittle went, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, and John is back on the clock.
David
Montgomery was the one person I was hoping might slip back to me again.
That is where Ray and I had a debate earlier today about. But then Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Kyler Murray, John is back on the clock again. We can get into the David Montgomery debate during our ranking show.
Yeah, that's what we're going to need to, because he needs to be talked about.
But yeah, that's kind of a line for where both of us kind of consider some players at. So then John took Robert Woods. I was hoping Robert Woods would somehow slip through the cracks back to me to be my wide receiver 2. But that didn't happen. Myles Gaskins, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kareem Hunt, and then Ray is back on the clock here.
Right. So one of the little gambles that I had taken kind of worked out, fell back to me. I was hoping that Travis Etienne would make it, and he did. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot.
Okay. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm on the clock now. So here I'm looking wide receiver again, more than likely. So with that, I'm looking. There's CeeDee Lamb. I think it could potentially happen with CeeDee Lamb, but do I want to take the gamble again on my wide receiver 2? Do I want to take someone like Cooper Kupp? Ray doesn't like him, but he's the number 1 for the team, Kenny Golladay. Yeah, I know you don't like him, but I am going to take CeeDee Lamb. I do think the upside is there, and if you're going to win weeks, there's the upside. And then Dak Prescott, DJ Moore go. So I am back on the clock again. So I am going to take Cooper Kupp this time, because we do have 2 flex in this league. Remember that, guys, just in case you forgot. So my teams, I personally believe my team is pretty dang solid through the first 6 rounds of this draft.
Something to remember when you're in your online drafts and your in-person drafts and whatnot. specifically in Aaron's position here, where you have a guy behind you, you're going to be battling with this person pretty much the whole draft. You're bracketed by two people, obviously, in every position you're in, but specifically where Aaron's at, he had to have known that I'm going to be trying to look at another running back. My running backs are pretty weak, and you can look at your opponent's rosters and kind of gauge who might fall back to and who might not fall back to.
Because for this specific example, I know Ray's going to take Mike Davis right here.
You are correct.
And that would have been, if I didn't have Chris Carson and I would have taken George Kittle or Darren Waller there, Mike Davis in the 6th is where he's normally falling. That would have probably been my pick.
And I think Mike Davis is kind of I don't think it's a reach to grab him in the 6th because he's the only man in town. He's the only show available. But if it does pan out, then my team is looking pretty nice. So after Mike Davis, Kenny Galladay went, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Deontay Johnson, and John is back on the clock.
Justin Herbert right there. Okay,
Justin Sherbet.
Stamping his flag. TJ Hawkinson, Adam Thielen, Tyler Lockett, T. Higgins. John's back on the clock. I do want to point out, Kyle Pitts went from being the 9th or 10th tight end taken off of the board to now the 4th. This is an average. The way their system works inside Sleeper, it's the average off of all of the drafts that they do. They compile all the data on the back end, and then the computer picks are the average positions where they are getting drafted. So he's skyrocketing up draft boards in just a little over a month.
All right, so John moved forward with Raheem Mostert. Right after him, Brandon Ayuk went, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Russell Wilson, and then I'm back on the clock again.
You are.
Let's see what is available still. I do see Javonte Williams out there floating around, and what I'm hearing out of all the rumor mills is that Javonte Williams is going to get all of the work. That's what I've heard.
Are you going to take him?
No. I still see, and I understand this is kind of going to be a gross pick. I understand it, but I cannot pass on having the opportunity to have Odell this late in drafts. I can't. So I'm going to take Odell and shore up the receiving core that I think could be pretty stacked.
Yeah, I mean, in the 7th or 8th, he's probably pretty good value there. So now I'm going to look at my team. I'm pretty much done with the tight ends at this point in time. I don't think I will be drafting one for a while. Every team but I believe myself, Ray, Team 4, John, and never mind. Team 4, John. So there's 4 teams without a tight end. Not really happy with any of the tight ends on the board, so really don't care. Looking at quarterback, I do believe I could possibly wait a little bit longer on a quarterback too. So I'm going to look at running backs. As you said, we're in the 7th round. There's a few running backs that I would take a shot on, but probably not right now. So I'm going to take the number 1 for his team at receiver again, and I'm going to go ahead and take Courtland Sutton. I'm going to pass the Jamar Chase hype train. I'm going to let Jamar Chase and the hype train go. Joe Burrow was good last year, but Joe Burrow wasn't on pace to be that great last year. It's just how it is. T. Higgins was okay. I don't think that they'll be able to support Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. I don't think that there will be enough volume to go around there. Anybody disagree with that?
I do not know, but I think if you're going to take a shot late in the draft, and we're pretty late here, but it's 7 to 8 round, this is the time where you can actually start taking a little bit more shots on people. Surprising Ronald Jones went so high. Jamar Chase has the highest ceiling out of all of them, I think.
Yeah, I would agree he has the highest ceiling out of all of them, but I don't think
so. He would be the guy. He would be the guy you're going to call your glory shot on.
And the only way that glory shot pays off, realistically, to be good for your team is if he has somewhat of a similar season that Justin Jefferson had last year.
Correct.
If he has a wide receiver 22 through 27 finish, it's okay. It's not the greatest. It definitely won't be consistent. Sorry.
No, I don't think so.
Back to us here. So really, dude, like I said, running backs are kind of just, it's all about kind of at this point in time, calling your shot on who you think's going to, you know what I mean? Be whoever. I am going to let them slip one more round, I think, before I start really, really targeting people. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to stock up on the wide receivers. I'm happy with my 3 running backs that I feel like can start just about every week. They all have different bye weeks too, so I don't really have to worry too awful much about having to plug too many people in. So I'm going to take him while I got him, while he's still on the board. If everyone's looking at the screen right now, he's a little further down on this pick list, especially if I go to the all pick list, but I'm high on him and I've got a long wait to come back, so I'm calling my shot on him now. I'm taking Robbie Anderson.
I was really hoping Robbie Anderson would have made it back.
Sorry, I know that took a long time for me to spit all that out. What's up, John?
That was. Go ahead, John. Oh, I guess he wasn't saying nothing.
No.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just I'm going to get my stack going here. Since I have Devontae Adams, and because the bad man is still around, and what I'm hearing is that he's going to play, I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, you're taking Aaron Rodgers. I was like, you're going to reach for A.J. Dillon?
No, not
That's
yet.
a good stack, though. He'll be there. And there goes Chase Claypool, DJ Chark, Juju Smith, Javonte Williams, Devontae Smith, James Robinson, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, David Johnson, back to John. Laviska Shenault. There he goes.
Man.
John's calling his shots now.
Another heartbreaker right there, because I really wanted Laviska Shenault on my roster.
A heartbreaker for you?
I think those guys would actually go later usually, but I know you guys and I know the guys you like. So if I wanted them, I kind of had to get them now while they were there.
That's
crazy.
That's a good point that you brought that up, because in last year's actual live draft, I think it was the 5th or 6th round. I think it was the 5th round. I was in front of Ray, and I had to take Antonio Gibson in the 5th. It's our keeper league, but I knew if I didn't take him in the 5th, Ray was either going to take him in the 5th or the 6th. So I had to reach up to get him, and I'm happy I did.
And you're correct that I would have.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I'm going to go ahead and take my shot on Jerry Jeudy then, because I need to shore up a little bit more receiving help out there.
that works, man. That definitely works. So for here, it's risky. It is risky what's going to happen with the San Francisco backfield. But I'm going to take my shot on Trey Sermon. I think that he ends up usurping Raheem Mostert.
For Trey Sermon, Will Fuller went. Damian Harris, which I would have probably taken where Aaron took Trey Sermon. But I would have probably taken Trey Sermon where Aaron is now, so it didn't really matter.
Nope, not at all. So I have some stuff going on my team, right? It's looking pretty good here. I know Ray doesn't like him. I do actually like him this year. He's the ageless wonder. And I think if I don't take him here, some of these teams, I'm the last team without a quarterback, but I do believe that teams do start drafting 2 quarterbacks at this point in time. Ray and I have seen it happen time and time again. There's really only 3 quarterbacks left that I'm comfortable with being my starting quarterback. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Tom Brady in the 10th.
Now, if I can just kind of add my 2 cents, it might be worth a whole lot, but if I were in your position and I was drafting a quarterback right there and Matt Stafford was still on the board, I would have probably taken Matt Stafford over Tom Brady.
He is still on the board, but
that's probably because I'm lower on Tom Brady.
That is true, and it seems like I draft Matt Stafford in every draft, so I'm just kind of trying to change it up a little bit.
Now, since there's not a ton of running backs left that you might not want to take a look at, really, I want to talk about one guy that maybe we've kind of poo-pooed on too much. Arizona went out and obtained James Conner's services for a reason.
I knew
That's
it.
true.
That's
That is
what
true.
I was going to grab.
Is Chase Edmonds really going to be the starting running back? Do you really think that he's going to get all of the work?
So, do you want to hear my take on it? And I would love
Go
to hear
ahead.
John's take on this too.
I'm
My
going to
take,
take him. Go ahead.
that's fine. My take is that Chase Edmonds is the between the 20s runner, right? He's smaller, he's faster. I believe he's the between the 20s runner. I believe when they get 20 yards and in, James Conner is going to be their red zone back up until he gets hurt and can't play anymore. But I do believe the longevity of his body will be a lot better in a split back system, because rather than carrying the whole entire offensive workload.
I think that if James Conner can just stay healthy, if that can happen, and I understand that's a big if, but you got to look where I'm at. I'm in the 10th round. If I can get a starting running back in the 10th round, I win. That's it. I won the draft. So I'm going to take a shot on a guy that I truly think could be the workhorse back in what is assumed to be an electric offense.
You know what? I don't think Chase Edmonds is that guy, pal. I just don't. He's had the shot. He didn't really do too much with it.
You're not that
And
guy, pal. You're not that guy.
Exactly. You go out and get James Conner. They're going to play him.
Is James Conner that guy?
I don't believe James
Absolutely.
Conner's that guy either, though. To be honest with you, you know who the offense runs through, and it's Kyler Murray. That's all it is to it.
Yeah.
They'll be the byproduct
right.
of what Kyler can't get. Anyways, John.
All right. So after James Conner, Tyler Boyd went, Zach Moss, Brandon Cooks, Jarvis Landry, which I would have assumed would have gone a lot sooner than the 10th, and John is back on the clock.
Jarvis Landry steadily gets disrespected, though.
Whole lot of poop out here on the running back field.
Very
There
true.
is. It's a couple call your shots guys out here late, but it's about
Very
it.
perfect.
I'm looking at 1, 2.
I'm looking at 2 specifically right now.
There's 1. And there's 2. So John took AJ Dillon, who was one of the backs we were talking about. Kenyon Drake went next. Then Matt Stafford. I told you teams would start taking 2 quarterbacks. Then Michael Carter, who was the second person I was talking about. I don't know if that's who Ray was talking about.
Absolutely.
But then Jalen Waddle. Gosh dang.
Worthless pick.
And then John's back on the clock.
I will say that if you have Jalen Hurts, if you drafted him, if you were silly enough or foolish enough to draft Jalen Hurts anywhere in your draft, you better have a second quarterback that you took on that somewhere in that draft, or be willing to stream quarterbacks for the rest of the season, because you're not going to be excited with what you see. I promise.
Did you know that 50% of quarterbacks have 50% of the time finishes QB1? Something like it's like 50% of the time quarterbacks finishes QB1 or something like that. I forget what the stat was, but essentially it's saying half of the league finishes as a QB1 half of the time.
And I don't want to
It's weird.
even witness Jalen Hurts achieve any kind of glory. So
All right.
after, Corey Davis too. Okay, John's receiving core is going to be sneaky good. So after Corey Davis, Logan Thomas went. Trevor Lawrence, which again, I'm surprised that Trevor Lawrence is falling this far. I would have assumed that he would have went a little higher up than some of the other names I'm seeing. Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee, and I'm back on the clock. So do I dare take a handcuff here? Do I dare?
Is it handcuff season already for you, or
It's getting close. I mean, I'm
shots being called? Like, what are you gonna do here?
I'm going to go ahead and just say that since I don't have a ton of things that are working in the receiver room, like if a lot of things break the other way on me, I'm not looking too sharp.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be, but I don't like anybody right here.
Who you taking?
I'm taking Tony Pollard. I don't want him to fall back to you.
Okay. All right. So you took Tony Pollard, which would be the handcuff for me. So right here, as Ray was alluding to earlier, the bad man is back. The bad man, if the bad man is back, the bad man is super efficient when it comes to targeting this player. I'm taking my first tight end in the 11th round, which I'm happy with taking, Robert Tonyan. Joe Burrow goes next. Marquise Brown goes next. Then I'm going to take this sneaky snart pick because we are calling our shots at this point in time. I'm going to take Antonio Brown in the 12th. Go ahead, Ray. It's all you. Wolf.
Oh, look, I do believe that in our league, Michael Gallup went in the second last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's not talk about that one.
What a fall from grace. I'm going to go ahead and take my shot on Russell Gage.
Yeah? Oh, that is a good little pick there. I always forget about him because he's never anywhere close to where I'm looking.
12th round for Russell Gage, potentially being a receiver too. I don't think that's too bad at all. So after Russell Gage went Gus Edwards, which again, if you're looking at handcuffs, Gus Edwards is going to be the guy. I truly think if you're going to look for handcuffs, that's where you want to look at. Ryan Tannehill, Irv Smith Jr., Michael Pittman, Hunter Henry to John. You didn't have a tight end, did you, John?
Nope.
I didn't think so. Michael Gallup, Devontae Parker, Devin Singletary, Matthew Ryan, and John is back on the clock again. Now, I will say, I would have probably went Evan Ingram instead of Hunter Henry. But
Took Henry Ruggs in the 13th. I believe that is a really good value pick there, Josh.
yeah,
Calling your shot doesn't cost. You'll know by week 1 if he's gonna be a focal point of the offense, and if not, it doesn't cost you anything to drop him and pick somebody up off the waiver wire.
yeah, I really like that Henry Ruggs.
Good job. Good job.
Henry Ruggs. We got
Get it
there.
out, dude.
We made it. I really like the Henry Ruggs pick because you're going to know real quick. And if he doesn't pan out, you didn't spend anything to get him. If he does, then again, you won the draft. It's all about finding value, right? After Henry Ruggs went Nyheim Hines, Darrell Henderson, Daryl Mooney, Mike Williams, and I'm back on the clock again. And we're starting to round out. Remember, this is a 2-flex league too, so
This is
definitely
true.
something to really consider. I am not liking what I'm seeing, but I'm going to go ahead and say one thing. Just I know I've said it before, but
What's up?
why did Rashawn Bateman have to go to the Ravens? Why? Why did they have to do that to me? I'm going to take him here just because I would like to see him on my roster, but it's so
You know what's funny?
so disappointing.
That was gonna be my pick.
Because it hurts. It hurts me. That's why.
It does. It hurts a lot knowing that, someone with a bunch of talent went there. To a small piece of the pie. Hopefully he can be accurate and effective. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, hopefully. Tight end, I have Robert Tonyan. I'm not really going to take a second tight end. You can only play 2 of them or 1 of them. And chances are they're not going to outscore any of my other players to fit into my flex spot. And if they do, it might be one time during the season, and I'm not mad at it. So I'm continuing to look here, man. It gets really thin really fast, guys.
It really does.
Like really thin, really fast.
I will say that Marvin Jones is still on the board.
That's
I think he's going to be a red zone option.
That's who I just was like looking at. Like I think that is going to be my option.
T.Y.
Here
Hilton's
is
there.
Marvin Jones.
T.Y. Hilton's there.
Yeah, I see that, but I do think I am going to take Marvin Jones. Nobody really knows Trevor Lawrence's tendencies, and I do believe they brought Marvin Jones in to be the DJ Shark role. But I believe he'll be a good pick. So then Gronkowski, Jamal Williams, and now back to me. So at this point in time, I'm going to look at taking the handcuff. Right? We're talking about handcuffs. The handcuff that I want, and I'll know if I can drop him or not within a couple weeks of the season, is Chuba Hubbard. I want Chuba Hubbard because if Christian McCaffrey goes down, you saw what happened with Mike Davis last year. He was perfectly viable and a weekly starter in fantasy at that point in time.
Very true.
So that's who I'm taking, especially with the injury history of Christian McCaffrey.
Very true. I have my eyeball on a couple guys here because my last pick's going to be dedicated to a defense because we have to draft one. But I'm taking a look at Denzel Mims. Kind of jumps off the table for me here. Like there has to be somebody that's going to be catching the ball out there. There has to be somebody that's going to take a step. And is it going to be Corey Davis? Maybe. Is it going to be Denzel Mims, the guy that they drafted highly a couple years ago? Maybe. Is it going to be Elijah Moore? Maybe. Who knows? I do like T.Y. Hilton right here.
Jameson Crowder.
I do like Jameson Crowder. A lot of Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already have my Packers stack, and I would normally take Amari Rodgers here because he's always been my late round guy. But I'm going to go. Let me take another look at the running back to see who's still left as well. I think that's. Oh, look, Todd Gurley's still available.
Hey, draft him.
Hey. I'm going to go take Philip Lindsay.
Okay.
And hope that ends up being something.
Then Latavius Murray went, then Nelson Aguilar, Elijah Moore, Alexander Madison. So as you can see, a lot of the handcuffs are starting to go.
Mm-hmm.
A pick I do want to talk about that we kind of skipped over. John took Henry Ruggs, and then Nyheim Hines went to Team 4. I do believe that he will be a viable flex option this year.
I refuse.
You refuse? Well, yeah, you have a bad taste in your mouth.
I refuse.
And John took Marlon Mack, who I was just about to bring up too. Marlon Mack could be the rotational piece, but I think that they're going to. They did, but I do think they're going to use Nyheim Hines in the passing game more than Jonathan Taylor. Defenses don't really matter, but we have the Washington football team, the Buccaneers. John took the 49ers, the Steelers, the Rams, the Ravens, the Colts. Rates on you.
Well, like I said, since we have to draft the defense and I'm forced and handcuffed into doing it, I'm going to take Miami's defense.
Oh, good call. Good call. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm just going to say that I think their defense did get better in the offseason. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, it's looking at a lot of sacks. All right, so who wants to go first here? Who wants to go talk over their team? Just give us a quick little overview and see how you feel.
I'll go first. So for quarterback, I have the ageless wonder, Tom Brady. And then running backs, my starting running backs will be Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, Chris Carson will be in the flex, Trey Sermon, Chuba Hubbard be on the bench, but they're pieces that are probably going to take a little longer in the season, one of them being a handcuff. Wide receivers, I'm really happy with my wide receiver core, especially for not taking my first wide receiver until the 4th round. I have Allen Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton, Robbie Anderson, Antonio Brown, and Marvin Jones. For tight end, I have Robert Tonyan. I will stream the position if that doesn't work out for me. And for the defense, I have the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I guess that means I'm up. So, my starting quarterback is the bad man himself, Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully he comes back. I hope to God, because that pick would not age well if he didn't. Rounding out my running backs here, we have Antonio Gibson, Travis Etienne as my number 2, which I'm not too excited about. Mike Davis, James Conner, Tony Pollard as a handcuff, Philip Lindsay as a shot in the dark. If Travis Etienne does not work out, if it doesn't happen, Mike Davis is going to have enough work to hopefully keep me afloat. Maybe James Conner pans out. I have a lot of shots in the dark here at running back, which I don't particularly care for. But as my receiving core goes, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Odell Beckham Jr., Jerry Jeudy as a flex option, Russell Gage as a sneaky pick, and Rashad Bateman because I want him on my roster. And then as a tight end, George Kittle. This is why my roster looks the way that it does, is because I had to take George Kittle in the 4th, which I think is going to return value. And then and my defense is the Miami Dolphins. And John, you were...
Yes, sir.
You're up.
That
You like
leaves
to talk to
me.
it?
Well, let's see. I really just wanted to do this for some practice. I have not got to do much diving into that yet, but I'm hoping that my receivers can carry me into the promised land because I'm not very happy with my running back. I got a few decent ones, but not really. So I got a lot of depth with receiver. I took a couple shots on some guys late that can be flash in the pans that might get me somewhere, but wasn't happy with my QB, wasn't happy with my tight end. But other than that, it was all right.
All right, so John's team actually looks like Justin Herbert at quarterback. His running backs are Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, A.J. Dillon, and Marlon Mack. His receivers, which he has a lot of receivers, my God. DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Robert Woods, Devonta Smith, Laviska Shenault, Corey Davis, and Henry Ruggs, which I do believe your receivers are set up pretty nicely because this is a dual flex. So it potentially you have the potential of starting 4 receivers at one time every week.
Yeah, that's exactly why I did that with the double flex. I mean, yeah, you can get a really good running back to throw in there, but how often is that going to pan out in a draft? I mean, you got to really go running back, and then running back in the 4th to even make that work. So I went receiver. That's just easier to get those points.
I'd agree. I'm not particularly mad at your draft here, but your running back room is actually is the weak part of the team, as is mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have 2 good guys, and then I have a bunch of whatevers. So it is what it is.
Couple shots in the dark. Well, Aaron, that wraps up this this draft here. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, as always, guys, please give us a like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell so you know anytime that we post a new video. As of now, it's Tuesdays and Saturdays for the mock draft miniseries. Tuesdays will be the full episodes, regular episodes. And let us know in the comments down below who you think drafted the best team during this draft. That's all I got, Ray. You got anything else?
I do. If you've stuck around this long, if you've listened to our voices and you'd like to play some fantasy football against us or with us, we're going to be setting up that listener league here pretty soon. So if you really could help us out by throwing something in the comments, letting us know that you're interested in getting in it.
We'll do our own separate video just for that, so people can comment on that video.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting that set up here pretty soon. But definitely start letting us know about the interest that you guys have in that league, and that's really all I got.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, we will
All right, fellas. Thanks for the
later.
opportunity.
See
I'll
you,
see you on
man.
the stick.